Thanks everybody for coming. My name is Holly Hancock and I'm running for, I feel like, what's the name of that movie that was, my name is so-and-so and I'm running for president. But anyway, it was like the American president or something. But my name is Holly Hancock and I'm running for LA Superior Court seat number 70. And first, I want to thank, because let's go back to our roots. I remember that I met today in person Sheila Pinkel, who was an early supporter and who connected me with the La Defensa people, Transform the Judiciary, and they are in connection with Ground Game. So that's how I kind of got connected with all these really wonderful people. And I want to say that Transforming the Judiciary, La Defensa people remembered when I said the last time I ran, which I ran in 2018, and I did a very good showing, but I did not win. I came in second, and a close second. And they said, how was it when you ran before? And I said, it was lonely. Because I was the only public defender in a sea of district attorneys, and they're just a sprinkling of a couple of other defense attorneys, but really civil attorneys, really. But it was just, it was a lonely experience, and they heard me, and they went out, and they got some fantastic people for me to run on this slate with, and that's Anna Raitano, Liz Lashley Haynes, and Ji-Young Park, and I'm very excited to be with them, and I just feel shored up and buoyed up by all the support that I'm getting from everyone. Thank you. So I got to do the notes here, but why do I run? So then that's a good question for people. You're an attorney, you're doing pretty good. Why do you want to run to be on the bench with a bunch of people? Like, I have so many colleagues who say, well, I don't want to be on the bench with those people because they don't like the judges. Coming from the defense side, they don't like the judges. But I say, once upon a time, I was a flight attendant, and I was a union official in the Association of Flight Attendants. And at that time, I was always fighting for equal opportunity for the flight attendants. I was fighting for them to have decent pay, for them to have a decent workplace, and a safe workplace, in particular after 9/11. So I was always fighting for people who I was with to live basically a decent life, just to have a decent life. So that moved me into fighting for their grievances and everything, moved me into law. And ultimately, I got with the Public Defender's Office, and I've been doing this for 16 years now. I've been fighting for people's constitutional rights in the courtrooms, in misdemeanors, and in felonies. The best kinds of defense attorneys have to know the root causes of the issue, of the problem. You have to know the perspective of all the people. You take each case and you have to know the perspective of each and every person there. That's your client, witnesses, their trauma, your client's trauma, the family's trauma, and it becomes generational. It becomes generational, and you have to know that there's a solution outside of door number 1 is county jail and door number 2 is state prison. There has to be some kind of solution that's long-term, and that also the long-term solution is a solution that will give safety to the community, to all the community. Now, I believe in second chances, but that is not just me. The voters of Los Angeles County and the state of California have already indicated their willingness to pass propositions, to pass measures that give you alternatives to incarceration, that will give you a deeper solution to the problems for the people that come in front of the bench. Now, the problem with that is that once people finally get their propositions passed and they fight to get all the signatures and they fight to get it on the ballot, and then people finally vote for it and everything, guess where it goes so that it will be implemented? It goes to the courtrooms, and it goes in front of people on the bench. And either they are willing to implement those new laws or they are resistant to those new laws. And so what I can say is that I will be following the law. I am not resistant to change, and I know that there have to be alternatives, because it's the definition of insanity to keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. 3 times 3 times I've gone in. So, here's why, people, it's good to have public defense people. 3 times I've had to go into the lockup, 3 times with 3 new clients and tell them, because they didn't know, somebody has died and you have been charged with that murder. Now that is so impactful and then I go on the journey with them, right? Because that's who I'm representing. But it's not just that, it's the everyday cases that come along that have the impact that is long ranging. People get traumatized. I'm not talking about just my client, I'm talking about everybody around them. People are traumatized. And that's why we have to look at some different solutions. The judges in LA County, because of their background, and let's just say this, Los Angeles County deserves diversity. It deserves diversity. What's that? Diversity of race, diversity of ethnicity, diversity of gender fluidity. But not just that, it's diversity of your background. How have you been trained? Background determines behavior. It just does. And you could be aware of it. You could be aware and that you should try to change and be open-minded because there's some other backgrounds out here. But let's just face it, on the bench, the people in front of the bench are not looking like the people who have been on the bench in Los Angeles County. We've got 500 judges. The vast majority of them come from prosecution. The vast majority of them are not people of color. That's just a fact. They're not. Most of my clients are people of color. I'm talking like 80% are some people of some color. So that, it's a different situation, and behavior determines, your background determines your behavior. Do you look at people as people in front of you? I'm talking about your training and what you've done in your profession. Or do you look at the people in front of you as, can I win or not win this case? This is a tool in my war chest. Can I win or not win this particular case? Or do you look at them as people and there's a solution? What's the best solution? There might be jail or prison involved, but what's the best solution in the long term, including that? So I'm not precluding any kind of sentencing. I'm just simply saying, how do you look at the people in front of you? And if you come from the defense side, you look at each person, you look at each incident separately. I do not have to win the case. I do not have to get a notch in my belt. That is not how I have been trained. And that is why you need people from a different professional background. If I'm elected judge, I'm going to treat everybody in front of me with respect and integrity, and I will take each case individually. I will not be swayed by who is in charge of one department or another department in the county. I don't care who gets elected. I don't care who gets appointed. You come in front of me, I'm going to be treating you with dignity and respect. Thank you all for listening. And up next is some of my fantastic Slate members. Take care.